Hi, I'm Robert Kirby and welcome. I am the director and founder of Core Energetics International and Robert Kirby International, and I've been involved in leadership my entire life. I am so honored to represent Global Healing Exchange in these training videos. The second element of training, I want to talk about confronting fear and resistance. The reason this is important is it doesn't matter if you're new to leadership or you've been involved in leadership in many forms for decades. These issues come up. It's part of being human, and it's part of having responsibilities over other people. I created a little diagram here to help you understand. It's in quadrants. There are 4 different areas, and I'll quickly run through that, and then I'll give you some examples for each. The first is about presence and attention. The second is about embracing the shadow element. The third is about projection of issues. And the fourth, that many leaders who tend to ignore this stuff, they put these issues in the too hard basket. It ends up eventually biting them in the bum. In other words, their leadership will plateau because one or more of these 4 issues will stand in your way. Let me give you some examples. First is about presence and attention. What people want more than anything from a leader is to be heard and also to be acknowledged. So many times leaders get stressed and overwhelmed because we're human and we're not totally present for people. And people feel invalidated even if we change the subject or we talk over them or we're impatient or we check out and we're not really hearing them because we're so distracted by other things that have a greater priority. It doesn't matter. It simply does not work. We have to have the ability to be single-minded and stand in that moment and really be present with that person, even if we're distracted by other things. So this divided attention is a killer for the leader. So one of the things that I mentioned before, it's so important, is to be grounded and to have your thoughts focused. So there are grounding exercises that you can do. There's stretching, walking barefoot in the park, and also meditating is a very important part of getting our thoughts and feelings aligned and congruent so we can be totally present for people. The second area I want to talk about is embracing the shadow. Now, I think it's very important for leaders to show their humanity. And what I mean is to be forthright about mistakes that they've made and talk to people about areas in their life that may or may not be working. And be transparent as possible. You don't need to divulge everything or every problem that's going on in your personal life. But if there are things that are going on, it's nice to tell people that I'm in a challenge. I have a bit of a crisis right now with one of my kids or in my personal life, and I'm dealing with it. But I want you to know I'm still focused on this project and I'm totally here for you. Because people will know anyway. People can see through us. No matter how strong a leader or how gifted or how experienced, people will see. So if you're able to show that you have issues, that you make mistakes, you have problems with senior management if you report to someone else in an organization, or you have problems with some of your customers or clients and challenges, people will feel more trustworthy of you because they'll see your humanity and they'll see that you're willing to own your mistakes, and it makes them more forthright and more transparent about troubles they're having or mistakes they're having as one of your followers. So this is one of the keys. So the first 2 elements, make sure that you're totally present no matter what's going on. Even if you're in crisis, you have to put it aside and be there for people. And secondly, you have to embrace the shadow. Now, I mentioned the shadow of the leader himself or herself, but there's also can be a shadow in an organization where you give people the opportunity to bring up things in the organization that they don't like. A lot of leaders don't want to hear this. So they take a blind eye and a deaf ear to the things that are going on in an organization that the staff or subordinates or the followers simply don't like, they're unhappy about. And sometimes they get very defensive. And so this is not good. Every organization, no matter how well you do, if you have a lot of light and a lot of beautiful things you're putting out into the world, well, there's going to be a shadow right behind it. So I think really strong leaders do this. They address it. They welcome the feedback, even though it might be hurtful or a little bit painful, but at least things get out in the open and there's an opportunity to work through it. Okay, So moving right along, I want to talk about projection of issues and transference. What people will do is they may have issues of their own that they don't want to deal with. So let's say someone is judgmental and they don't want to deal with the fact that they're judgmental. What they'll do is split that off into a subpersonality and sequester it. Sequester means hidden. They'll put it in the back burner because they feel underneath guilty or deeply ashamed that they're so judgmental. And it'll be in their unconscious, and they'll project it onto the leader. They'll say to the leader, I feel so judged in your presence. You don't really respect me. You don't really honor me. But actually, it will be a projection of how they're feeling about themselves. And they'll put it onto you, especially if they're wanting something from you as the leader. So leaders who become reactive about this, about things that get projected onto them, because people will do it all the time, you will not be able to rehabilitate that person. In other words, the person might be a really good follower, a really good performer, a really good employee or staff member. And if you can embrace their projection onto you, it will not only help that person become a better leader and a better performer, it will make you a stronger leader. And people will really respect you and they'll trust you that much more if you can take a punch in the mouth. So this is where the humility comes in. Embracing projection is not an easy thing. And the longer someone works for you, the longer resentment builds up. And if that resentment does not have a healthy channel to be able to get resolved, then many times it can blow up in the leader's face. So projection is an important thing to understand. And you can just Google projection and the psychology of projection and find out wonderful articles that are written by psychologists and leaders from all over the world. That's really important. And the final thing I want to talk about is transference and countertransference. Many times a leader is in a position of authority that is similar or mirroring a parental role. So if someone looks to you as the healthy parent figure, if you're a female, they may look at you as the healthy mother they never had. If you're a male, of course, it would be the father figure that they never had. And they're wanting you in some way unconscious to reparent or give them the feelings or the support or the validation that they never get when they were little. So these things leave a hole in the soul of people, most people really. So transference is a key element, and these things need to get talked about. They need to get brought out in the open. If someone may start off and think that you're a hero, put you way, way up on a pedestal, especially if you're supportive and you validate them and you move them up in an organization, they'll really feel connected to you and honored to be part of your team. However, if something goes wrong, if they make mistakes and you have to point it out to them, or if someone else is more prepared or ready for a promotion and they get passed over for a promotion, that transference can go from positive to really negative, and then that person can really, really tear down an organization with their negativity and their pain. And they might not even be aware that that pain is not about the leader. It's historical pain, it's unresolved pain from the past about leaders. Conversely, believe it or not, there are leaders who have their unresolved pain. It's called countertransference. And the leader may project something on to a staff member or a follower and become annoyed or upset with them, may even want to get rid of them, when it really has nothing to do with that person. It's psychological, it's unconscious, and it's very, very powerful, and it motivates people to do all sorts of things that they regret later on. So wow, this was a heavy one, but it's really important that you consider and follow up. If you want more information, you can look onto our website on robertkirby.com and coreenergetics.com.au and get more information on these topics. So just a quick review. Presence and attention, embracing the shadow, pulling back the projection of issues from yourself or staff members, and understanding the power of transference of authority issues that can go underneath and submarine an entire organization. I hope you enjoyed this and got benefit from it. I hope you'll do further research and really master this in your leadership, because it will bring you to a whole new level.